Hi, friends. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mia Park, and this is In Response Interviews with Intriguing Internalizers. And this is a live stream interview series that I'm doing with wonderful, amazing human beings I am lucky enough to know across the world about their outside world, and more importantly, their internal responses to the outside world. So we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, and this is going to be eventually a podcast as well. So I am so excited to introduce, here's my drum roll, this very special guest coming at us from Colorado, Gina D'Orazio Stryker.
Hi, thank you so much, Anita. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. What an honor.
I got you, Mama. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Oh gosh. So Gina is Gina's what I like. If you're in the Buddhist paradigm, I would call her a bodhisattva, which means to me that is someone who doesn't have to reincarnate because they're so enlightened and already internally developed, but chooses to stay on this earth to help other people. This is Gina, like Mother Earth incarnate. So
making me blush.
Oh, it's all true. So Gina and I know each other. We met through the yoga world, but Gina's world is so much bigger than that. She was just telling me some of her backstory, and I'm waiting for the autobiography to come up to be made into a hit movie because this woman. So one of my favorite things that I love about Gina is that she always was an amazing, like chef, cook, nurturing human beings in person, but a lot through food. And she is this incredible, for real, from the ground up homemade company called Gina Cucina. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But ladies and gentlemen, Gina.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again, Mia, for having me. It's such a thrill to be on your series, and I've enjoyed I've watched several of them, and I really enjoyed it. Very intriguing and interesting and informative and just fun and heartfelt. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. You're honoring us too. So is there anything else that you'd like people to know about you, Gina?
So yes, I am a mother to four, two sets of twins. So that's kind of my pride and joy and my legacy. My fifth child is my business, Gina Cucina, which along with Gina Cucina, we are a mission-based company. It's in the DNA of our company. We work to combat human trafficking. So everybody that we work with and partner with and sell to and buy from, we ask that they train their people on how to spot human trafficking. And we've successfully partnered with everyone we've asked, so which is awesome. It's a huge success rate, but there's a lot of work to get done. It's the largest growing criminal enterprise in the world. So that's part of our daily routine too, along with the cooking and the nourishing. I mean, our whole thing is nourish the body, feed the soul, and love is the first ingredient. A funny story about love, actually. In the first pass of our labels that we printed, we put them on our packages, and we shipped them out. And we got a call from the FDA because on every jar that we sold, a jar of soup or sauces or pestos, whatever, the first ingredient was love. Do you know that love to the FDA is not tangible? So.
Well, isn't that just a larger statement about the government?
Yes.
I mean, like that we don't understand this love thing.
Yeah, you cannot put that, you cannot buy that. I'm like, I realize you cannot buy it, but it is infused in every jar of soup that I sell. Every meal I bring to the table. Love is always the first ingredient.
Oh my gosh, didn't even know that was a thing. You know what I mean? Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I learned at a young age that cooking and feeding people is about love, and more so than anything else. That's how I express my love, is by bringing you to the table and feeding you, and it's what gives me joy. And having four children, I've cooked for every single one of their classes since they were toddlers. I've had them to the house and I've cooked for them, and as you know, I've catered for hundreds and thousands of yogis and retreats, and it's been my thing since I was little. I mean, I was 5 and at my grandmother's out in the middle of rural Idaho, and she always had an acre garden. And I went out and pulled a beet out of the ground and kind of bit into it, and I'm like, and so I went to the orchard then and pulled a plum, and I walked into her and I said, make me something. So I handed her her beet and a plum, and I said, add cinnamon, because cinnamon toast was my favorite thing. And so she made this paste out of beets, plums, and cinnamon, and that's what I put on my toast for, I don't know how long that was my thing. Like, so it came naturally. It's something that just has been a part of me since I can remember. And I come from actually a long line of chefs. My grandfather was a classically trained Italian chef. I have two uncles that are chefs, and on my mother's side, that's on my father's side. On my mother's side, my grandmother she's a pioneer lady who everything we ate came from her garden. So it was, so I had this kind of interesting mixture of Italian chef and kind of just country girl, farm girl, which I still am. I'm a total country farm girl.
But with this very elegant and refined view of food and life, if
Yeah.
I may add.
Yeah.
And yeah,
When I graduated high school, I actually went to Italy and studied
right.
cooking. And one of the things that they trained me in was that when you bring food to the table, when you bring a meal to the table, it has to have all the colors. And then you have a full meal. So you want the oranges, the greens, the reds, the yellows. So once you're combining the foods, you understand that that's going to be a nourishing meal. So that was one of the first things I learned, which was beautiful because before that it still is all instinct. A funny story about my cooking school. So Alessandro was his name. He was the head chef. And I trained more in my mother's kitchen, and she would make something and clean up immediately. So that's what I do. I would fix something, then I'd clean up everything, and I'd fix something, and I'd clean up everything. And about 3 months into the school, Alessandro came over to me, he was watching me, and we were all terrified of him. He was this very rotund man, but just wonderful, full of heart. And he goes, D'Orazio. And I'm like, yes. He goes, che così fai? Which means basically, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm cooking. He goes, no. You cook, you clean, you cook, you clean. When you create, create. Stop clean. And I went, oh, I stopped clean. So I stopped cleaning. I was like, I just created. And so which was amazing because it gave me free reign for the first time. I wasn't structured. And I had this opportunity to just go to the market, the farmer's market, or in Italy, you just go to the open air market and you grab what looks the freshest and you come back home and you make something. And that's kind of how Gina Cucina got started. I started with a farmer, and a few of the yogi friends said, you've got to start selling this stuff. And so I would go to the farmer's market and I would see what was fresh and what was new, and I'd take it home and I'd make something. And that's how we got started. I mean, my farmer friend said, why don't you just share my booth with me and just see how it works? And I'm like, oh, didn't think about that. Okay. So I did. I was in mason jars with cute little fabric tops, and we were so pretty, and went the first week and we were sold out in an hour of hot in the middle of July. It was crazy. And I did not know what I was walking into. And then the second week I showed up again, and this man came up to me and he's trying everything. He goes, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, thank you. I'm kind of proud of it. And he says, you can't buy this anywhere. I'm like, well, you can buy it here. Come every Saturday. I'm here. And he goes, no, you can't buy it at the store. And I'm like, I realize that. And he goes, would you like to be in a store? And I'm like, sure. I don't know how to do that. And he goes, well, I'm the Whole Foods forager. I'd like to carry you. And I went, okay, how do we do that? And that was the second week in.
Wow, I didn't know that story. It literally came to you. Wow.
Yeah, he came to me and he's like, and he was the nicest guy. And we're still friends today. He's still a big champion of mine today. And it literally took 3 years, though, to bring it to market. So that was in 2014. And we hit the shelves in 2017. So it was, but he held my hand the entire way. He was in on the branding and the flavor profiles. I mean, every week I would call him and say, okay, so what do you think about this? And it was just this beautiful relationship. And I still have that beautiful relationship with Whole Foods. It's been an amazing journey for me. And they actually were one of the first of our vendors who jumped on and said, we want to train our drivers. What do we do? How do we do this? How do we train our people on how to spot human trafficking? And they had me, I think I spoke on 3 different occasions to their people. So it was really stand up of them. They really participated. They really partnered with me on every aspect. I'm very proud of that.
Wow, you just said a lot. That's amazing. Let me unpack that a little bit.
Okay,
Um,
I can
props to
rattle
Whole.
on.
No, it's no. I love. No, are you kidding? I love it. Props to Whole Foods because it is a major corporation, especially now owned by Amazon. So I've got some thoughts about that. But
This
on the
is from
ground,
Amazon. Yeah,
right? But this was pre-Amazon.
yeah.
Great. And so I live in Chicago, and I know that we can buy very delicious Gina Cucina products at Fresh Time markets in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you said Whole Foods, that must be Whole Foods, Colorado,
Rocky Mountain region, right? Rocky Mountain region, and
and also Costco. So at
well,
Costco out
Costco
there.
is seasonal, so
Okay.
we every year we have to renegotiate with them. They're wonderful partners too. They actually, interestingly enough, were much like Whole Foods. I was shopping in Thanksgiving 2014 at Costco. I had these huge full carts, and this man was following me around. I actually thought he thought I was shoplifting or something because he just kept following me. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he finally came up to me, and he's like, "You have a beautiful cart." And I'm like, "Well, thank
Were
you."
you like, they always say that about me?
You're right.
I'm like, I used to live in LA and they said that about me then too. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So then he's just started a dialogue. He goes, "What do you do?" "I'm a chef." He goes, "Oh, private chef." I said, "No, I make soup. We sell at Whole Foods. We're, small little thing." And he goes, "Interesting. Can you be here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock? The entire management team is flying in from San Diego on the Costco jet. I'd like you to present. We'd like to carry your product." And I was like, "I'll be here at 8." So I showed up the next morning at 8, warmed up all my soup, served it to them. They said, "Okay, how do we get you on the shelves?" I'm like, "That's such a great question. Can we talk about this?" So again, Costco partnered with me for 3 years. 3 years, Costco and Whole Foods,
Wow.
we just had this kind of courtship, and they partnered every step of the way. And I would show up on Rick Carlson was his name, and I would show up at his doorstep and say, "Okay, what do you think about this? Do you like this flavor? Is this a good flavor for Costco? Do you like this branding?" And finally, when we were able to launch, we launched on a Friday, the Friday before Thanksgiving in 2017 in Costco.
Okay.
By Sunday, they had sold out. Yeah. By Monday, they had called, said, "Okay, we need like 6 more pallets." I'm like, "Okay." So then I called my co-packer, and my co-packer had given everybody the week off of Thanksgiving, and Costco wanted the soup in 10 days. So I looked at my partner and I'm like, "We're going to Idaho," which is where our co-packer was. We drove 13 hours one way, made 1,500 gallons of soup, and drove 13 hours back. We made the soup in 2 days so that we could deliver the next week to Costco. Because once you're in, you can't say, "Oh no, sorry, we can't deliver. We're not ready for that." So we did it. We did it. And when I told that story to the Costco people later on, they were like, "Oh my God, Gina, we didn't know that." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't going to tell you." I can tell you now in retrospect, but I wasn't going to in the moment say, "We don't have anybody in the kitchen to cook that soup, so can you wait?" So
Right. You're not going to, yeah, you're just
that's
going to,
what you do. You just do what has to be done. And that's what I've done along the way. I just fly by the seat of my pants. I mean, I love to cook, and it is my passion. I can come up with recipes till the cows come home because it's something I love to do. But, getting on the shelves, and there's a lot of kind of logistics that go into all of that I was unaware of, that I didn't know how to walk that path. And so it was trial and error, and I made several mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes today. But I'm learning and I'm growing, and I'm hoping that people are enjoying what we're offering. And we're changing up. We've actually recently, next week, we're launching online, which is awesome. So
hey,
yeah, online you'll be able to get not only our soups, but our sauces, our pestos, chai, my famous chai.
okay, so can I just pause right there? Whenever it is cold out, I have a monthly newsletter that I've been putting out for forever. So I always have a link to Gina's Chai. I have turned on so many of my yoga students. One of my yoga students she would not stop texting me because she was following your recipe verbatim. She's like, "So is this the right proportion?" I was like, "Just go to Gina's web." I'm like, "You have Gina's website. It is seriously." And I've been to India many
Yeah,
times. I
yeah,
like Gina's chai better. I'm not kidding. And I do what you see for the kids. I put rooibos in there
yeah,
instead of black tea a lot of times. I know your
yeah.
kids like that.
Yeah, we always
Um,
have both versions just because I like caffeine and I don't let my kids have caffeine. So, we do the rooibos version and the
yeah.
black tea version.
And I've been to Gina's house. It's like, yep, here's the gallon of chai. You just kind of pour the. So let me. I could just listen to you talk about anything forever. But what
Oh,
I'd love to hear you talk about is if we can kind of, like we're a little bird's eye. Let's go inside and out. Like
okay.
I would love a news report from your heart and soul about what your views are to this outside world. Let me date stamp this if I may. It's July 10th, 2020. We're still in the middle of the COVID-19 health pandemic. And then, of course, the world is under more pressure fighting for justice and racial equality.
Yeah.
And how, what's your inside response to all that outside stuff?
Well, inside, it's about time. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen, and I can't pretend to know the depth of the racial injustice. I mean, I come from, my background that I come from, and although I'm proud of it, I also understand, although I grew up personally in abject poverty, that I still was ahead of the game as far as racial. So I'm hopeful and full of willingness to learn and understand and to do my part, whatever that may be, and look to guidance from others as far as the racial um, situation that's happening right now. It's about time. We need the upheaval. With COVID, it's been um, fascinating because I have, as you know, twin 11-year-olds at home still, which I ended up not only running my business but homeschooling, which is not my thing. It was like, and to keep them contained. They're 11. They don't want to be contained. They want to be social. And now I have one of my college age boys home living with me as well, because he was at NYU, and NYU shut down and went online. And what's the point of that? So I think it's not personal. What's happening right, even though it feels deeply personal, it's not personal. It's everybody's in it, and we all need this upheaval and change to grow. I mean, we all have to walk through the fire, and I feel like we're in the heat of the fire right now, and I'm praying and hoping and that there is transition that comes from it. And I'm all for whatever it is I have to do. I'm up for it. Whatever it is I have to do to help change the dynamic and the paradigm of the world we're living in, I'm in. Sign me up, and I'm completely teachable and completely egoless in it. And I don't. I actually, in all honesty, I mean, I can say this out loud. I don't know that my business will survive COVID. We've taken a huge hit, as have most of the entrepreneurs I know. Most of the small businesses I know have taken huge hits. I can think of 5 off the top of my head we're going down. And I may too. It's a strong possibility, stronger than actually surviving. But with that, I see the opportunity to create something different in a better form. I don't know what that will be, or maybe all I do is focus on the mission. Maybe I become an ED for a mission and I feed people. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, I don't know what it looks like. I do know. Much like you, I've gone to doing these little like 6-minute videos of cooking things. So maybe I do a cooking show. I don't know, but I want to learn. I'm hungry for that change, whatever that is. So, and I want to be the best example I can to the 4 children that I'm responsible for. And when you become a parent, anybody who is, that your life shifts. That you now have a responsibility to help shepherd these human beings into the best form of who they can be. And I am learning a new way of doing that with them now, having 3 of them at home now, and home all the time with no distractions other than, okay, let's go to the river. You want to go to the river again? Let's go for a bike ride. Let's go for a bike. Did you do some art today? How about math? Have you done any math today? No, me either. It's like, what do I do? I'm not an educator, but I'm learning. And I'm watching them grow, and I'm watching them change, and I'm watching them want to do what's right and what's best, and them coming to me ideas with what's right and what's best. So, I'm in a total novice mode of shifting, changing. How can I best be of service? I'm always happiest when I'm of service or in service, and I will continue to lean into that. How can I help? If my company is a loss, it's a loss, but I
Mhm.
have, you know, I've gained a lot. I learned a lot. It was a good run, and I will recreate something different and better. I don't know what that might be, but I think we all have to change right now. Everybody.
God, that is so, so well spoken. What, thank you so much for that.
Hmm.
I'm wondering, we can do one last question, please. I'm wondering, can you identify what inside of you is driving you in such a trusting, hopeful way? Because your spirit, you can hear the authenticity
Mhm.
for oozing out of you as you're talking. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, soup or your children. Like it's just, you have this grounded, genuine um, place that you're speaking from. Can you, yeah, share with us like what's keeping you hopeful?
Everybody calls me the eternal optimist, and I think, I kind of just lean into the love and the gratitude because, as I said earlier, I came from very meager background, and everything that has come my way, I have worked for, and I have gratitude. I mean, I lean into gratitude everywhere because my life could have easily gone a different direction. And in working with the kids that I work with who have been trafficked, and I work with ages 12 to 20, and I look at them and I'm like, okay, they are living on the fringe and they have been trafficked and abused and brutalized. And that could have been me. At 16, I was approached by someone who it could have turned out differently. And I was saved by my track coach, so uh, it's really about gratitude. I lean into that daily. I mean, at night, I ask my kids before we eat dinner, what are you grateful for today? Every night. And the two youngers and I have kept a gratitude journal for a long time. So I know that I almost feel like that's like trite but I really do believe the more you lean into that, the more you're going to feel it and the more you can give back. We are blessed with abundance. I am, my children are. We have an abundant life. And there are so many out there who don't have that. And it is incumbent upon those of us who live in abundance to give back and find a better space for the most vulnerable out there. And that it's just something that resonates with me. It always has. It's always something that's been in my heart. And my children, I have empathetic, compassionate children.
Oh, very special, bright souls.
Yeah.
All,
And
all four of them. Yeah.
they have to live up to their expectations of me. I don't take parenting lightly. And so I have to be an example to them. I want them to reach out and touch people and change the world. So if I'm not out there doing it, they're not going to. So I'm full of just gratitude, and I try to lead with grace and forgiveness, and that's that whole adage. I have a shirt that says, "The more you give, the more you live," and that's kind of the family motto. The more you give, the more you live, and we try to live.
I love that.
Yeah,
The
it's my
more you give, the more you live. That is
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Or maybe you can put that in an ingredient for your next line of pesto, and the FDA can go put
Right.
that up their butts.
Yeah, once close the doors of Gina Cucina, I'll find something around that. But right now,
Oh,
we're still alive. You can still buy us, so buy us.
that's right, Gina Cucina. And there's information on Gina and her fantastic food company on YouTube down there, Facebook up there. Again, when we get this out in a podcast, we'll get it up there. So it's ginacucina.com, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and the spelling is so support really like you hear of like, oh, my friend has this company, or oh, that's my neighbor's nephew's daughter, whatever. But really, I am telling you, if you're watching, this person that you're also watching, Gina, is for real. Her company is real. This is the story of a person who is gifted and does something and has the chutzpah and draws enough people and got this is really American entrepreneurship. And then we are all suffering with this COVID thing and the economy. But this is who we support. Don't go to Amazon, but do go buy her soup someplace else. Jeff Bezos is not the kind of person that needs the money. This type of person, Gina, is the one that needs the real support because she's on the ground doing all that work. So thank you so much, Gina.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Mia. It's such a pleasure. Thanks for reaching out and for having me. I'm full of gratitude to you.
Uh, oh, thank you. See, don't you feel better listening to Gina talk? It's just like it takes 5 minutes and you're like, I'm going to have a really good week, you know? Anyway, love you so much, my dear.
Big hug. Thanks.
Big hug. And
Bye-bye.
thanks for watching, everyone. Tune in next time. Thanks.